I know many of you all out there have been waiting for my review of the new Skullcandy Crusher PLYR720 gaming headset, and I want to thank you all for being so patient, as this is not a headset you can just take out of the box and review. This really needed some testing because there's a lot packed into this as far as the sound, the comfort, and especially the features and functions. So anyways, let's go ahead and dive into the Skullcandy Crusher PLYR720 and see if they're worth a pickup. Now, I know you all are definitely interested in the features and functions packed on this headset, but you all know I have to start with the comfort. Is it stinking cozy? Because if it's not, we're gonna take it right off and all these features and functions mean nothing, right? So talking about comfort, first off, taking a look at these ear pads. Oh my gosh, they are so nice. They're almost like memory foam, and you got this silky material inside and out right there, so they're definitely cool to the touch. You don't feel all this heat and sweat getting locked in there, but you do result in a little bit of that sound bleeding out, but these are open back as well, so that's really not an issue here. But these ear pads are incredibly cozy. You can peel them off, which I'm gonna regret taking this one off right here because they are a pain in the butt to get on. Now you're seeing this clear right around it. That's going to be for that RGB, which I'll show you later. But yes, you can replace these ear pads, but like I stated, they are tough to get back on. Now, further up is the headband. And this is kind of like this silicone headband. It's locked into that position as your adjustability is over here on the arms. And this headband, for someone like me with a bald head, you just kind of notice it's like sticking on there, getting all the grease. Now, of course, if you got hair, maybe it's going to be better, but I don't know. I think this will start like feeling like it's tugging and pulling on your hair. I wish this headband was cloth rather than this silicone. I don't know. It's comfortable, but I just don't like that silicone bit there. As I showed you, you got the adjustability on the forks over here, and then you have that full swivel all the way front and back, and then your ear cups go in and out. But as we all know, comfort is subjective. It's different from person to person, but me reviewing it, there are a couple things I don't like. Number one, being that headband with my shiny bald head, and I'm in a hot, humid climate down here. Again, after long sessions, you just kind of notice it's sticking. So it holds its position. It's not going to go forward and back on you, but you take it off, it's almost like peeling off. You know what I mean? I would think, again, if you have some hair, that it would start pulling it. So if you use this headset or if you tested it out and you have more hair than me, which isn't hard to beat, let me know and let us know down in the comments. Does that feel like it's tugging your hair? That's just the vibe I get. Now, the other thing that really upsets me about the comfort, even more than the headband, is it adjusts incredibly easy on these little sliding forks over here. Again, there's a lot of features and functions packed into this headset, so they have a little bit of weight, and they actually adjust by themselves over time, and you'll notice them kind of slide down, so you're catching yourself kind of micro adjusting it right there. So two finicky, annoying things as far as comfort here. They're not uncomfortable, they're not unbearable by any means, just a little bit annoying. So I can't give them stinking cozy, but yes, they are very comfortable and you can game for long sessions with them. Now, taking a look at the build of this headset, I don't know, I'm going to say it's okay. As my use, it was perfectly fine, but yes, it is all plastic. This little adjustable arm right here is plastic. Your headband's plastic. Your one little fork going down here, as you've seen with SteelSeries headset, is plastic. The only metal bit is actually this grate over the ear cup, or your driver right there being open back, right? But everything else is plastic. It is a little bit heavier than you would think for an all plastic headset, but it's not ridiculously heavy by any means. If we slap it on a scale, we're gonna get 370 grams. So as far as the build of this headset, I don't know, I'm gonna say it's okay, but it does make me nervous. Like, I don't know what that creaking's coming from. I believe it's coming from the plastic adjustable point right there. I don't see anything. Nope, that was it actually, because I just clipped it into place. So with me just stretching it out like that, and why I do that is because I don't use my products that I review for as long as you, that you might buy them and main them, right? So I would rather break my product than you break your product. So over time, you're taking your headset, you're stretching it out, you're putting it on your head. What is gonna loosen up over time? And right there, clear as day, that's what's going to loosen up. You're going all plastic into this heftier headset. That does make me a little bit worried, but if you're gentle with your stuff, I think you'll be perfectly fine. Now let's get to the good stuff, being features and functions, and we'll also do the microphone test when I show you the software. So number one, you have a detachable microphone, which again, we'll do that microphone test here shortly. You can run this headset via 3.5, which a 3.5 cable is included, and it's one of these flat ones, so kind of annoying. It kind of gets bunched up on you and stuff, but anyways, you get that included, and when you're running 3.5 with this headset, right down here, you don't need power. It's just plug and play and you're good to go, but you're not going to get the features and functions that we're going to talk about. It's just a regular 3.5 type of headphone. And then you get your USB A to C cable, which is used for charging. But taking a deeper dive into the features and functions on this headset, you're seeing a lot go on here, right? So you got your power button, then this can also be used as your Bluetooth button, and you got this little joystick over here, which is multi-function. This is how you're gonna control your game to chat or your side tone, which you can hold this down and it goes to those different features like side tone mode or game to chat mode. This is also your volume rocker, so it goes up for up and then down for your volume, so it's not a wheel. So sometimes you can catch yourself kind of hitting it at an angle right there. I don't know, this is the first time I've seen something like this. It's not my favorite. I do prefer a volume wheel, but anyways, kind of cool innovation to see something different on the headset. Over here on the other side, you got the custom, which again will control, I believe it's THX, and then as far as like the head tracking mode, and then some EQs. And then right over here, this is the fun part, the crusher wheel. This will increase the bass, like the rumble, not just the bass in your audio, but the actual like rumble in your headset, kind of like the Razer haptics as we're used to. We'll talk more about that here shortly. Over here, you have your mute button, which you can also hold down for some more features. And I want to show you the manual right over here. As you can see, there's a lot of different features you can actually control on this headset. You got the crusher, you got the bass wheel. Over here, again, you got side tone mode, side tone on and off, holding the mute button. Like I couldn't even remember all the features and controls packed into this, even though I've been using it quite a while. But again, there's so many different things you can do with this headset as far as these buttons right here. You can see right here, Bluetooth pairing. Now this is one thing I want to point out. You see how that's saying hold for 4 seconds, and then powering on, it's saying hold for 2 seconds? Like seriously, like you really have to hold it down for those seconds. You hold it down for longer, it starts pairing and stuff. If you don't hold it down for long enough, it won't turn off. Like it's pretty darn annoying how you got to hold that button down for those certain times. You also get this dongle. It's a USB-A dongle, and as you see, you got PC and then like console mode, so you can use it across all different platforms. But now before we get into the microphone test of this headset and show you the software, I want to show you the app control, and I absolutely love app control on gaming headsets. I think every gaming headset should have that, as not all of us are on PC, right? So anyways, let's go to power on the headset here, and this is where you can notice what I was talking about, right? So I'm like 1, 2, and it doesn't turn on, right? So you got to get like that legit 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, bam, and then it'll power on, right? So again, it's real finicky as far as those seconds that you got to hold down. But anyways, look at here, already connected right up there. Hopefully, okay, here we go. So you're going to see our battery life. You got our volume right there. You got that THX spatial audio, which this is really cool here. So if you turn it on, you can actually adjust lower and then further up. And you'll see more details of this in the software, but it's really cool that you can actually adjust this right on the headset there. Then you got head tracking. I'm not a fan of this. Again, you kind of set it up and program in there and it tracks which way you're moving. Other headsets that use this, I don't like it. THX will pass more about, or talk more about that. Over here, you got the crusher technology, which again is this wheel over here on the side, and you can go up or down if you want. Then you can put it on bass boost as well, just to give it a little bit more. Now, when you put it on bass boost, this is more into the audio. We actually get over here to the crusher technology. That's more of that haptic type of feedback, which I'll talk more about in the sound. Over here, you got side tone, on or off. And again, you can increase or decrease that, and you can actually control that in here as well. Whenever you hold down the mute button, cycle over, and then you can adjust it with that little joystick right over there. Then you got enhanced sound precision, which this is pretty cool. This is like Corsair's, I forget what they call it, where you can kind of go through and do a couple tests. Where do you hear the beep? Do you hear the beep now with some static in the background? Yada, yada. And it will get a sound drawn out for you, which it does work. It works pretty good, just right along with the Corsair one. It's pretty nice. You got that THX equalizer, which you can create a custom one here as well. If you go into edit, you can adjust that and dabble with your own EQ, and it will save onto the headset as well. I leave mine on flat, which I'm going to talk about in the sound, why I leave mine mine out flat. You got that LED control over here, which I'm not sure why it's not really shown. Oh, you can see it right there. So again, you can see it kind of, can you guys? You see a little bit of red right there? So it kind of comes right through that open back bit and then underneath here by the driver. I think it's because my phone is probably throwing it off with the white, but you can see that LED right down there and coming right through that little crease over there and a little bit through the grates right there. All right, so now let me go on and give you the mic test, which is exactly what you're hearing right now. Just straight up raw, no tweaking or anything, just again a raw microphone test. And I'm going to show you the software, but one thing I want to mention before I show you the software, when you hear this microphone, it's pretty far away from my mouth, almost like, I would say, dang, almost more. Like 5 fingers, like a whole hand's length away from my mouth here. Whenever I try to mold it in, so I'm going to hold it there, it shoots right back out. Like I'm going to try to mold it, bam, and it's back out. So I don't know if I like, it still goes right out. So again, the microphone is not very moldable. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. Again, I just got a basic gamer, which I got a fan on over there, a fan on up there, a fan in my light, and my PC chugging. So again, you're just getting a raw microphone. But again, this thing is not moldable. So let's go and dive into the software and see some of the settings we can adjust. Okay, so taking a look at the Skullcandy Crusher software. It is not my favorite. I don't like this like cyberpunk type stuff, you know. It's just, I don't know, it's not my favorite. But getting into some of the basics here, you got your volume right here. The microphone is at halfway. I don't know, this is at max right now. Does it sound any better? Can you hear me any better? And then if we go down that a bit, I always like keep mine at kind of like the halfway, maybe 60-70%. But anyways, that's what you're hearing right now. You got game to chat adjustment here, and then you got the side tone, which again, all of this can be adjusted right on the headset, which is pretty cool. Over here, you got EQ settings, which you got that THX mode, which is right down here. Then you got some customs you can make, and then some presets, which again can be adjusted on the headset or in the app as well. And this cool thing is you see this little arrow here. You can plop that and bam, get it kind of bigger right down here. You see what you're adjusting. I really like that. That's pretty cool. But again, I just don't like the aesthetics of the software, I guess it is, right? Now, coming down here, you got THX mode. So you can click that on, and you see it comes on over here. So it's in 2 different areas. And what you're going to want is the spatial sound. And this is where you can see you can pull the speakers out or then pull them closer to you, kind of like you saw in the app. And this makes a huge difference. So don't just go in here and click it on, because I think it's halfway. And it feels like that fake 7.1 the more you pull it away. When you're kind of down here a little bit, it does sound pretty good, right? Leaving it on these sound settings that I use a flat, and then I'll talk about what else I use in the sound department. But anyways, it can sound pretty morphed when you start pulling out, really exaggerated. So I didn't really catch myself using THX mode. It just wasn't something I enjoyed. Over here, you got the Crusher technology, which is, again, that bass, which you can control on the headset. You can see it goes down. And then if you bring it all the way to the top, his eyeballs start glowing or whatever. But anyways, that is what that is there. You have your ESP, and it tells you everything's right here. When you hear everything in detail, this is, again, what I was talking about as far as the settings where you can adjust it, and you can actually control it over here to increase or decrease it. And it's really cool how it actually adjusts it for the sound. It actually does work. Now, coming up here, you're seeing the headset kind of cycle around. It kind of gives you a rundown of everything on the headset, which you can pull this into a bigger mode as well, which is where you get those LED adjustments. And then it kind of tells you about some things, right? As far as your microphone, your custom button back there, the wheel, kind of like a in-house manual in the software, right? So the software, you can control all of this in the app, which is the way I prefer it, honestly. I just don't like this layout. It just feels messy, in my opinion, and not very clear. I get the vibe they're going for, but like, this is 1990s, right? Like, let's make it a little bit more simple and legible. All right, so now that we got all of that stuff out of the way, let's talk about one of the most interesting topics on this headset, other than features and functions, because again, it's packing so much. But I want to talk about the sound here. I know a lot of you are curious about this, as this headset has a lot of, I don't want to say unique, as we've seen some of these things packed into other gaming headsets, but it has multiple things packed into this headset from other headsets, right? Number one, it's open back, as we saw with like the Atlas Airs or the previous open back wireless gaming headset. But then this also has the haptics, or I forget what Skullcandy calls it. Let me get the box here and I'll get you the actual terms. multi-sensory bass technology. So whatever, right? We've seen the haptics in Razer gaming headsets multiple times before. They now introduced the Sensei haptics, which are actually coordinated into certain games. So the haptics aren't constantly rumbling. You just get them in certain areas, which is really nice. Now, what Skullcandy has here is like the original haptics, right? It's always rumbling. But the cool thing on the Skullcandy here is you can actually adjust that little dial. You can pull it down and it's really manageable, or you can crank it up, and I guarantee you after 5 to 10 minutes you're gonna be taking some Tylenol because it seriously rumbles on your head like big time. And it's actually really fun and manageable. And why I think that is because it's open back. So you got the haptics, you got the bass, you got the sound, but some of it is escaping. It's not like locked in. I've told you guys to do this test in other headphone or headset videos as well. Take your hands, cup them over your head, start talking, and then take them out. And you're just gonna notice the difference, right? And that's the same with the gaming headset, right? That sound is gonna be locked in, you take it out, and then bam, it's opened up. Same thing with headphones or headsets. That's the same thing you can do with the sound, but on these Skullcandy Crushers, you also got that bass haptic that's gonna breathe out a little bit as well and make it a little bit more manageable. So the Crusher feature on this is actually pretty fun. When I'm playing Splitgate, I can actually hear footsteps coming behind me and actually feel them, you know what I mean? And then in Destiny, again, you get that immersion of different monsters and weapons, which you can get a little overboard in a game like Destiny because in some situations you can constantly go off and just keep on rumbling. And that's where I want to talk about the core sound profile of this headset. I know I kind of talked a lot about the Crusher, the vibration, which I think is a big feature of the sound profile of this headset, which is why I talked about it a lot. But the core sound, say if you turn the Crusher off, which I did catch myself doing a lot, especially when I started getting my headaches from it rumbling too much, the profile of this headset is kind of just there, right? It's that flat kind of profile. You have a little bit of highs, a little bit of bass. You definitely got to get in there and tweak it and dabble with it. Like the stock EQ, I wasn't a fan with. I kind of had to come over to like the movie mode, which brought out the highs a little bit more and kind of rounded out that bass, which was pretty manageable. It was definitely a decent sound. It wasn't anything that's going to blow you away. It's nothing unique from other gaming headsets out there. It's just what you expect from a gaming headset. If that sounds bad, don't take it that way. It's just there, right? Now, what really brings this headset to life, what I was telling you about before, how I use it out on that flat EQ, that stock EQ, fire up Dolby Atmos, and this honestly goes for a lot of gaming headsets out there, but fire up Dolby Atmos with this headset and oh my goodness, does it just come right to life. As far as EQs, y'all know I bring my highs up a little bit, my bass just up a pinch, nothing drastic, just that little smiley curve right there, and it really livens up this headset. But yes, you still do get that kind of core experience where it's just that, right? So sometimes if you got dialogue going on in a spicy situation, it just overtakes each other. Not talking the rumble feature, but I'm just talking the sound in general, like what it's delivering. Like I think if these were packing not planar magnetic drivers, what am I thinking over here? Corsair Virtuoso Pros, what am I? Graphene drivers. If these bad boys were packing graphene drivers, man, I think that combination could have been really cool to actually pump up the volume, get the detail, and take advantage of the rumble. But the sound profile, again, will get overtaken in certain situations where you'll miss some dialogue if you're in a spicy situation or something like that. And then, of course, if you got the rumble, again, that's kind of interfering with it as well there. So it's not something that you're going to want for competitive FPS. I would put this more or less like if you want an immersive experience, right? Like VR. I could see this being really fun with VR, or if you're playing a story game that's not hectic and you just kind of crank it up a little bit, that'll be fun. I don't see many people using this above 50% on the Crusher feature because, again, then you just got a jumbly mess, you know what I mean? But it is fun, and that's kind of where I put the sound profile. It's just fun. It's not exciting. It's nothing new and innovative. It's just fun. It does what it needs to do. And again, I've used it for quite a long time and been perfectly fine. It just never really like blew me away. And that pretty much goes right in line with my final verdict of the Skullcandy Crusher PLYR720s here. Coming in at 260 bucks. Like, that's in the higher end of gaming headsets. Like, I believe you can get the SteelSeries Arctics Pros for that price, the Black Sharks, Logitechs, all sorts of headsets you can get in there, right? And this is separating. It is different from those other gaming headsets for sure. Like, there's a lot packed into this, maybe more than some of the other ones I mentioned. So is it justifiable? I don't know. Like, this would not be my main gaming headset. Let me put it straight out that way. But it's a fun gaming headset, and if you're gonna utilize the features and functions, the Crusher technology and all that stuff, then it's gonna be worth it. So this isn't a headset I can say, oh man, this is great, go get it right now. You gotta really decipher, okay, am I gonna use that? Am I gonna utilize that? Do I like that? And then it can justify that price tag. But for 260 bucks, it's packing a lot, there's no denying it. But again, for me, this couldn't be a main gaming headset for me. It's just something I pull out occasionally that would be fun, kind of like VR. But again, thank you all so much for waiting and coming by and still watching my review on the Skullcandy Crusher PLYR720 gaming headset. I hope this review was helpful and beneficial. You're able to take something from it, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please hit that thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I hope I catch you in the next one. Bye now.